Welcome back. I've got my Phantasm box set comparison continues. This is Phantasm III, Lord of the Dead. Watched both editions and then did a quick comparison and thought I would share that with you. Phantasm III, as Don Coscarelli put it, was made out of necessity. Anytime that Coscarelli would come up with an idea or a concept or a script that he couldn't sell to the studios or raise money, he would crank out another Phantasm film. And that's what you've got here. Phantasm 3 was the result of the fact that he just couldn't get funding for his other ideas. It's ironic that Universal even funded this film because they did not do well with Phantasm 2. And in fact, what ended up happening after Phantasm 3 was made, Universal had basically a limited release, if that. They did a couple of test audience screenings. They did a couple test audience screenings and ended up just releasing it direct to video, which is a shame because I think in one of the markets, I think it was in the South, it did very, very well. But I don't think it's any secret that Coscarelli and Universal had their differences with these Phantasm films. Phantasm 3 picks up right where the second one left off. One of the things I like about the Phantasm series is the continuity of the series. The ending leads to the beginning of the next film picks up right where the last film left off, and you feel like it's just part of an overall continuous story. The last great franchise I think that did that best was the Hammer Dracula series. The first 5 Dracula films in the Hammer series, the ending and the beginning were in synchromesh. The beginning of the next film picked right up where the last one left off, and it was well executed. And Phantasm does a good job of that as well. Unfortunately, this one leaves me a little cold. Each time I watch it, I like it less and less. It's not a bad film. There's some spectacular things in it. But this film, to me, is a parody of the franchise. I think at this point they were having trouble deciding where to take the film and the concept. So what you get here is basically comedy. You've got some things that are inserted into this, like zombies that are comedic zombies that I just don't feel fit very easily into the narrative. And it troubles me. But having said that, it also has some spectacular elements to it as well. This time you're getting Reggie Bannon. Reggie is the hallmark of the series. He's the reason we watch the movies, and Reggie is the good guy trying to stop Angus Grimm is really carries all these films, I think, in my opinion. The problem with this film is I think his sidekicks that they pair him up with also leave me a little cold. And this happens when you pair up a kid. Like the kid in this film, Tim, feels like he just came right off a Walt Disney shoot. He's just too Hollywoodish looking to me, too nice. I just don't think he worked at all. In fact, Don Coscarelli in the audio commentary actually kind of references that. He basically comes out and said that maybe this was bad casting. Also Rocky, kind of the black female martial artist, she leaves me cold too. I just don't. I think there's some fans that appreciate her, but I don't know. She puts me off. I mean, I understand the need to pair up Reggie with some sidekicks, but I just think the casting of those two characters was not good. This Gloria Lynn Henry as Rocky, I didn't like it. And maybe it's not so much the characters themselves as it is the comedic elements to the plot. For example, Tim gets this Home Alone sequence where he gets to showcase how he can defend himself. I think the parody of the Phantasm in this film bothers me more than those two characters themselves. The film really kind of takes a reaches its crescendo of comedy with a toilet plunger sphere battle towards the end, with Reggie fighting a sphere attached to a toilet plunger. I mean, come on. I don't know. It bothers me. Like I say, I don't think this is a bad movie, but it's just one that each time I watch it, it drops a notch. I give it a 5 out of 10. It's not a bad movie. I think it will always stay at least above a 5, if not nothing else, for the epic hearse flip. There's a great scene with stuntman Bob Ivy where they actually flip a hearse going 70 some miles an hour, and the guy's in the hearse. Incredible scene. Probably one of the greatest and most dangerous car flip scenes I've ever seen in films. This film also attempts to go into some more detail and give us some backstory as to what the spheres are and how the dwarfs are created. So we get to see the internal mechanics of the spheres, which is essentially a gooey brain. And I think that backstory was helpful. I liked that element of it. All in all, Phantasm III is a bit of a disappointment in my eyes in contrast to the initial 2 films. So let's go on now to the comparison. So I've got the Wellgo here. This is my Wellgo set. And then I've got the Arrow with the cheap-ass plastic sphere. Once again, I think when you do a comparison of the casing, Wellgo clearly wins hands down. I just think this is a cheap way to go unusually cheap way to go for Arrow. I much prefer these cases with the alternate artwork from Wellgo. Actually, I like that alternate artwork. That's pretty cool. I might switch that out. The problem with switching it out is you feel like you got to switch them all, because they all have those, if you want to be consistent, which anybody with type A OCD like myself was like, well, this one's not consistent. Like, Jesus. As far as special features, so one of the primary reasons I bought the Wellgo box set was for this release, because it has 2 audio commentaries and one that's brand new with the director. Some of the information I garnered, conveying to you now, came from the audio commentary with Don Costarelli, which was a new feature not on the Arrow set. Both editions have the original Angus Grimm, Michael Baldwin audio commentary, so that's an even swap, but the Wellgo has the extra additional commentary. The Wellgo also has a 48-minute making of Phantasm III, which is not on the Arrow release, and then it has behind-the-scenes footage and deleted scenes, trailers, radio spots, etc. The Arrow set has a number of things that are not on the Wellgo. It's got the Balls of Steel, Bob Ivy, a 9-minute look into the greatest car stunt ever, which was great. Behind the scenes compilation, 28 minutes. A historical behind the scenes of 9 minutes, a deleted scene in a trailer, and then its own 48-minute making of documentary. Well, it's not 48 minutes. It's Reflections of Fear, which is about a 20-minute documentary that really is focused mainly on the special effects crew. So I think both releases. This is one of those pushes. I think both releases are fantastic. I think both releases, if you're a Phantasm fan or even close to being a Phantasm fan, you kind of got to have both. I mean, just because of the audio commentary on the Wellgo set and the overall picture quality, as well as the additional special features making of that's on the Arrow set. I think in terms of sound quality, they both have a 5.1 and a 2.0 track, and picture quality is a push as well. Although I slightly prefer the Arrow. I think the Arrow is less darker in some spots, but overall we're down to really kind of nitpicking at this point. I would recommend having both if you can afford to do so. All right, well, that'll wrap up Phantasm 3, and now we'll be moving on to Phantasm 4 shortly, very soon, and then Ravager coming up after that, followed by a look at the bonus discs and the booklets. Appreciate you watching. Let me know what you think. Thanks.